Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, no.
Do you want to?
Sorry. I'll let you.
Next one.
I'm excited and I feel relaxed and I'm ready to party. Don't say sorry. You don't need to do that. You don't need to apologize. It's a fucked up female habit. You don't need to be sorry for anything ever.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is?
I don't have rage issues.
I have nothing to prove to you.
When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
I say when it comes to stardom and Lauren, there are no accidents.
Hi, Karen Peterson.
Hello and welcome to Citizen Dame, the podcast where we love movies and sometimes we love bad ones. I'm Karen Peterson, joined by Lauren Humphreys Brooks.
For the very last time. That's it. This is over. We are not friends anymore. I'm sorry. It just has to be this way. I cannot condone what you've done to me.
Oh man, I wish that, well, no, I don't wish, but it would be kind of funny if I was like, yes, this was my big prank. I got us to do this series specifically so I could make you watch this movie and haha, got you. But I actually really do love this movie. So it's not a joke. That was not a prank. And I'm still happy that I finally got you to see it.
I will say that when I watched this movie that we were about to talk about, I started out with like, okay, and I was gradually just messaging Karen every 15 minutes or so of like, how dare you? How could you have done this to me? Are you actually kidding? Because it does get progressively dumber. And that's what's amazing to me. Like, it starts out pretty fucking dumb, but it actually manages to get dumber as it goes along, which I find, respectable in its own way. Yeah. Like, just like, you know what? I respect you. I respect the degree to which this has gotten dumb, because I did not expect it to get this dumb. And yet here we are.
Yeah, at one point when you messaged me, I wrote back, don't worry, it's going to get better. And by that, I mean so much worse.
That was pretty early in the film, too, I have to say. Like, I was just like, okay, this is stupid. Like, I can kind of see where it's going. It's just, I did it. I will give props to this movie for keeping me on my toes, definitely. Like, I was surprised by some of the things that happened, because I was like, there's no way that it could be that stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing. You cannot predict where it's going to go, because where it goes is so batshit insane that nobody would ever think of it, except for apparently the people who wrote it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, before we start really talking about replicas, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Finally getting nice and more summery here. Although it is very windy up here in my apartment right now. But yeah, it's definitely turned the corner. We're into New York spring / summer. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to sit outside and get lost in Central Park and things like that. How about you, Karen?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I took my kitties to the vet again this week, and they've gained an entire pound in like the month since their last visit. Yep. And they're just growing like weeds, and they're doing great. And yeah, what are you doing? They're getting in the way of everything. I love it. And then this week I decided, you know what? I'm gonna buy a grill. So my grill showed up, and it was basically raining outside. So I was like, well, I can't grill today. But so this weekend it's happening. Like, I got mine just in time for like dad's summer grilling season. So it's very exciting. I've never owned a grill. I'm very excited about it.
How have you managed to live in California and never own a grill? That's
well,
amazing.
I've lived in places where people owned grills, but I've never owned one myself.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I also have a friend who started a planter garden, like a raised bed planter garden, and with vegetables, and she got me hooked on the idea. So now I got the stuff to start that too. So that's my project for this weekend. I'm very excited.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I wish so much that I could have a garden here. I have the space. I have the outdoor space actually, but it's just because I'm on the top floor. Because it's so windy and it
Yeah.
doesn't get any shade. Like particularly during the summer, it just gets really hot. It just wouldn't work. There are other people in my building who have those kinds of like little outdoor gardens on their balconies, but
Aw.
I can't. Yeah,
Yeah, that's too bad. That is too bad.
that sounds lovely.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna spend the summer outdoors. That's my plan. At least until it's 140 degrees out.
I was gonna say when it hits 115, you'd be like, I don't think I'm gonna spend my summer outdoors.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, this week, as you know by now, we're finishing out our Bad Movies We Love series with the actual bad movie. Like, I think that I win because this one actually does fit the criteria of what I think of when I think of a bad movie that I love. So we're talking Replicas, which was directed by Jeffrey Nachmanoff, who had only ever done one feature film before that, and then he did this one and never made another movie. And I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that way. And it was written by Chad St. John, who wrote such memorable hits as Peppermint and London Has Fallen. So, we have quite the team here, but it stars Keanu Reeves, Alice Eve, Thomas Middleditch, his most annoying, John Ortiz, and some other folks. And yeah, this movie, just so you know, is available to watch on Prime Video, on Tubi, yeah, the Roku channel, I think. So there's lots of places that you could watch it. So if you haven't seen it yet, you're missing out. And yeah, I recommend watching it twice, and we'll get into that in a minute. But here's what I love. The plot summary for this movie is a scientist becomes obsessed with returning his family to normalcy after a terrible accident. And that is the most understatement description of a movie I think I've ever seen.
That's one way to describe it.
So, Lauren, this was your first time seeing Replicas.
It was indeed, and my last.
Thoughts?
So, I wish I could say like, oh, I can see where a good movie might have come out of this. And I tried, man. There was a couple of times where I was like, okay, maybe if the concept had been done a little bit differently, maybe if like they'd done this or that. And at every single time I just ran into a wall because I was just like, no, this is a bad idea from the get-go. Like, okay, a dude wanting to resurrect his family. All right, that's fine, right? Like, that's not an unusual story. But everything about this from the beginning is so stupid and so poorly thought out. Right? Like it starts with some of the most unconvincing like scientific gobbledygook I have ever heard. Like, talk about willing suspension of disbelief. One of the things you have to do, like, you can sell me the Wachowski sold me on the Matrix, right? Which, again, stupid in a lot of ways. A lot of sci-fi concepts are, if you try to explain them, they're dumb, they sound dumb. But a good writer, a good film, a good creator can sell you on those concepts. This, I'm like, no, that's not how the human brain works. I know that. Everybody knows that. And also, like, what the scientists in this film are like don't think of just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's so goddamn obvious that it's like, oh, here are one of the ways that this could possibly go wrong. Or here's like the solution to the problem that we've been having. It's like, yeah, it was fucking obvious from the beginning, wasn't it? and that's the thing. It's like, this does not, so the premise in itself does not convince me. And that's within the first like 10 minutes of the movie. And then it just gets weirder from there.
Yeah.
Like, oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first time I saw it was actually the weekend it came out in 2018. And not because I wanted to. It was, yeah, it was released like, I think this was a January movie. And I went and saw it because we were doing it for my other podcast, the boys that I podcast with. Oh no, sorry. I think maybe it came out. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, January 11th, 2019. Oh, it's 2019. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, um, yeah. So the guys that I podcast with on my other show, there was nothing out that weekend except for this movie, and we didn't want to skip the episode. They didn't want to skip the episodes. They were like, "No, we're gonna do replicas," and I was like, "I don't even know what that is. That sounds stupid. Whatever. It's January. It's not going to be good." And they kind of insisted, so I was like, "All right, fine." So I went, and the theater was surprisingly packed. And so I was like, okay, all right. And then it started, and it opens with the title cards for like the production companies and stuff. And the first one to pop up is Entertainment Studios. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Which, by the way, side note, is Byron Allen's company. And Byron Allen just took over Stephen Colbert's slot. So, fuck that guy. But anyway, so I immediately, as soon as I saw the Entertainment Studios label, I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And then the movie starts, and it starts with like this this very standard shot of like the ocean and a helicopter going over the ocean into like a jungle, and it's just like, okay, and it looks super cheesy. And then the movie started, and it was so bad that there were several times I actually thought about getting up and walking out. But I was like, no, I'm going to podcast about this. I'll have to just stick it out. And by the time it was over, I was like, that was the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my life. And then we recorded the podcast, and we all were like, what was this movie? This was so stupid. And then something weird happened over the next few weeks. We kept like amongst ourselves talking about it and like sending each other quotes from the movie because it was just so bad. And over time, we just started to kind of laugh about it. And it was just this collective experience. And then we decided to watch it again. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is so bad, but it's actually kind of funny. And so that's how this happened. I've now seen this movie 5 times.
Oh my God, Karen.
And I own it because it was like on a massive Fandango sale or something. And I genuinely, sincerely love it. And I love it because of how stupid it is and how bad it is. It makes me just giggle every time. I have a dream of making this like a, midnight movie type of thing that people go and just have this wild experience watching Replicas because it's so bad and it's just hilarious.
Well,
yeah.
It is one of those films. It's very sincere.
Yes.
Right. It is 100% serious. And, we've talked throughout this series about what constitutes a bad movie. Right. And you've got Van Helsing, which does take itself seriously in some ways, but not in others, and is kind of incoherent as a result of it. You've got something like Jupiter Ascending, which is 100% coherent and is also silly, and it understands its silliness. You've got Hotel Artemis, which is just kind of messy, right? This one believes so intensely that what it's doing makes sense and is good. Everyone no one is in a different movie in this movie. Everyone is in the same movie. They're all like acting their little hearts out. They're delivering these lines. They're 100% like, this is good.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's not just stupid. Like at a certain point, I was like, this is so incredibly unethical in every single way. And it kind of addresses that in places, but never thoroughly. And then sort of gives us this actually happy ending or like justification of what this man has done. And I was sitting there going like, no, this is wrong on every level. Like, don't you tell me, like, he could have been in some ways like an anti-hero, or like, okay, we understand why he behaves this way, but he's actually the villain, like a kind of a Frankenstein narrative. But no, we don't even get that. We're just like, he's wrong, like so horrifically wrong. This is a man who should be punished for what he has done.
Yeah. And instead, by the end of it, he basically turns out not only better than before, but like he's set for life. His life is going to be great now.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, I just at one point, so like there's this whole idea about, okay, so the family dies, right? And in the dumbest way possible, but okay, fine. So the family dies, and he calls up his colleague, his like Igor, right? And is like, you've got to bring the things. And I guess that they just have these suitcases that have all of their equipment in it, despite the fact that in the first scene we were shown that it takes a lot of equipment.
It's like a giant room. Yeah.
And a lot of people to be able to manage this. But no, okay, we can do this in suitcases now. Like the next day. Right.
Yeah.
And then and after all this, he's like, okay, we're gonna clone, because we can do that, apparently. We're gonna clone my family. And at each step, I was like, as like the what's his name, Middleditch character, right? Is like, no, that's a bad idea. This is really unethical. But he keeps on going along with it. But I was like, partway through, I was like, okay, all right, even this does not make me accept this premise. But if I accept this premise, I kind of see where this is going. The family is going to come back wrong, right? Because that's what happens in these stories. They come back wrong. You can't resurrect people. But somehow, despite every indicator that this would be true, they don't come back wrong. They come back totally normal, except that he's manipulated their memories, resurrected them, erased the existence of an entire member of their family.
Okay.
And it's all okay. And I'm just like, no, wrong, out, get out, go.
Yes. Yeah. I think
sorry.
that no. I just wanted to say, I think, because we're gonna have some people listening to this that haven't seen Replicas and they just want to hear what this is about. So I think we need to kind of start at the beginning with what the actual premise is of this movie. So basically, so Keanu, which I did warn you that you should know that this movie is bad by the fact that Keanu Reeves is playing a neuroscientist. And the helicopter shot at the very beginning, the opening, is inbound with a donor body. So they basically there's some kind of war happening somewhere in the world. These guys are living in Puerto Rico. This is where they have their science lab. And the company, by the way, is called Bio9, because of course we have to have some, and 9 with a Y, because of course we have to have some sort of like science-y tech sounding company name, and it's super generic. And anyway, so then what is happening is this neuroscientist, William, has developed a method of removing a person's consciousness right after they've died. You have like just like you have a certain amount of time to harvest organs for donation. You also apparently have a certain amount of time to harvest their brain, their mind, not the actual physical brain, but all the stuff that's in it. And then they are transferring that right now. They're transferring that into robots. But the robots keep tearing themselves apart the second they wake up because they're freaking out. And they don't know why this is happening, even though in the opening scene of this, I could tell immediately why this was happening. And I was like, why do these scientists not understand why this is happening? But yeah. So then separately, you've got Thomas Middleditch's character, Ed, who is a biologist, and he is working on cloning. And there's no foreshadowing whatsoever. This movie is all foreshadowing, except for you can't really predict where it's going to happen, where it's going to go. Anyway, so then what happens is William goes home for the day. He's about to get fired. Like his boss hates him and is mad that this project isn't working right. And they've got shareholders to answer to. And so he's like on the verge of getting fired. He goes home. Ed also comes by because the family is going on a boat trip, and Ed's going to take care of the fish. And the teenage daughter who has this fish, is carrying around the bowl. Like, nobody does that. You just go, okay, that's where the fish is. That's where the food is.
You could carry my fish bowl.
Carrying the fish around. And then the family leaves for their weekend boat trip, and they drive right into a storm. And do they think we should go home? This is a bad idea. No. They're like, we have to get to the dock in the middle of a terrible storm. It's like a tropical storm. An actual tropical storm is bearing down on them, but they think they're going on a boat trip for the weekend. And then I've seen this 5 times. I'm still not totally sure how it happens, but a tree like falls down. I don't know if it gets hit by lightning, if it's because of the wind. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but the tree falls and it's on his side of the car, but somehow goes through her side of the car and impales her, but only with part of it, and the branch breaks off. And then he crashes the car, drives into a river, and the whole family is killed in this accident. It's horrific. And he gets out and he's like not injured at all, but his whole family is dead. And he pulls them all out. Yeah, calls Ed and says, Ed, I need your help. Bring the suitcases. And so they extract the consciousness of the family. And Ed the whole time is like, no, we need to just call the police, man. Which is true. But instead of calling the police, he just keeps helping. And yeah, so then William gets the brilliant idea. I know what we can do. Ed's a biologist, and he's been working on a cloning project that he still hasn't successfully been able to build up. And we're going to put that together with my work that has not been successful yet. And it's going to be fine. We're going to clone my family.
Well, and to Ed's and the film's credit, they do keep on repeating, this is a bad idea.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like Ed keeps on saying, like, do you have any idea how many things can go wrong? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if they go wrong, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Like, and so at the very least, they acknowledge the fact that this is a bad idea. And that the whole point is that this guy is so destroyed and like grieving as a result of the death of his entire family. Right. That he's going to go through this. So like I'm willing to accept that bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like that this would be someone who would be this devastated and just refuse to let it go and would be like, we're gonna do this. Sure. And that Ed would also be someone who's being like, this is a terrible idea, but also to have that edge of like, I want to see if it works kind of thing. Which is, that kind of mad scientist-y element to all the. But then, like, that's the thing. This film is like a first draft of a sci-fi story that keeps on getting itself into corners and then really never gets itself out again.
Yeah,
like so. They've got all the problems. So there aren't enough pods. So he has to decide which member of his family he's not bringing back. And he winds up choosing his youngest daughter, Zoe.
He writes all their names down on paper and then has to draw them out of a bowl.
again, watching that, I was just like, oh my God, this is just, but it just doesn't summon up any sympathy for him particularly. It's just like, this is really cold and just like, this
Mhm.
is so weird.
Yeah.
And then of course Ed is like, okay, well, what about Zoe, right? Because your entire family has memories of Zoe.
Mhm.
And he's like, well, I'll just erase the neural pathways that have memory. So it's just like he's going to erase Zoe's existence from the memories of his family. This,
Yeah.
by the way, is like this technology, which has never been successful in transferring consciousness to another thing. He just like he is meanwhile like, I'll just erase whole sections of memory and that'll be fine.
Okay, but the reason that it's never been successful, and this is what I was able to see in that opening scene the first time I watched it, was that because they're putting the, and he finally does figure this out, but it's because they're putting the consciousness into a robot who then wakes up and sees like, wait, this isn't my body. And so there's this weird like it freaks out because it's like it doesn't understand what's happening and it can't process what's going on and why it's suddenly made out of metal. And yeah, so that's why it hasn't been working. But at the time that he's doing this whole we're gonna manipulate the brain thing, he hasn't figured that out yet. So yeah. But yeah, I love how the way that he does this is literally like a control find.
Yeah, just like
function.
search for Zoe.
Yeah.
Like,
and then we're just going to delete it. So it's like, I hope none of them have a friend named Zoe or something, you know? It's like,
well, and then again, this then raises, this is why I'm saying that this movie is like a first draft that gets itself into corners and never actually gets itself out again because it never addresses these problems, such as, okay, but even if you erase that from the memories of your family, there are other people that know you have a third child.
Yeah.
Like you don't just exist in a vacuum here.
She's in school.
Yeah. So there's that. So then he's like, meanwhile, it takes like whatever 17 days, right? For the clones to grow enough that they will be able to have their brains implanted.
Which, by the way, is another plot hole because there's so many, because they're not all the same age. And one of the points that Ed makes is if we leave them in longer, they're just going to keep aging. So why is it that they all need 17 days when they're not the same age?
Don't know. Because of the something in this, the genomic sequence of I don't know, like
yes.
They make up such bullshit scientific terms in this movie. So I don't know why they couldn't have just made up a bullshit term for that to explain it.
Yeah, that's true.
But and so then it's like, so then he has to pretend.
By the way, this is all in the first 30 minutes.
And then he has to pretend that his family is still alive, but no one sees them for like, and 17 days is not like an insignificant amount of time. Like a week, okay, people can get sick.
It is Christmas like break.
That. But still, it's like no one, like it's, and like, of course he plugs in, again, he plugs in his wife's phone and finds like thousands of text messages and phone calls and all this stuff. Stay there with his daughters. Again, no explanation as to how he actually gets into their phones and computers, except that he's a tech whiz and obviously he must know how to do that. And then it like begins responding to people as them, including completely scuttled. And his wife is like a doctor at a clinic.
She's a cardiologist or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like she has a time sensitive job as well. He like basically breaks up with his daughter's boyfriend. There's all of this stuff happening, and no, like there are people come by. It's just like, oh, where's your family? It's like they're sick.
Well, and he's doing all this while they're growing new bodies, and thinks it's just going to be fine when they wake up and he's done all this stuff to their lives and they're going to be just fine with it.
Which it is.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the other thing is that like, okay, you just like blown up your child's relationships with their friends. You've like confused your wife's boss, you've like, pretended all of this, and then he never, like, a really easy explanation even to them when they wake up is, oh, we were in this car accident and you guys have been in like a coma, like comas for 20 days. That's actually, like, that would actually fit everything together, right? And give a good explanation, like, oh, that's why you're struggling with your memories, or that's why you're like a little confused, and all that stuff. It's like, okay, we would be able to buy that. But no, he's just like, oh, everything's fine,
It's just a normal day.
oh my god.
Yeah, when like the morning after the family, like when they finally wake up, and he goes into the kitchen and they're sitting around having breakfast, and then they want him to make breakfast, and the son goes to pour milk or something and it's all rotten, and she's like, I just bought that yesterday. Which, first of all, why did you buy milk if you're going on a boat trip? Second of all, well, I guess she doesn't remember the boat trip, but anyway, but yeah, and so he forgot to dump the milk. He's like, how's he been feeding himself for the last 3 weeks? That's also a question I have. Yeah, anyway, they're like, this movie is just plot holes. That's all it is. But to go back to something you said earlier, I think that's one of the reasons that's exactly why it's such a bad movie, is because of the fact that they are so earnest about this. And you just feel the whole time these guys were dead serious, and you just feel the sense of, like, as they're making this movie, they just are like, we've really got something here. And they believe that with their whole being, that they really had something with this movie. And it's like, to me, that's part of what makes it so funny and so ridiculous, is that they're serious. They are dead serious, and they really thought they nailed it. And like, even in the very beginning, the first, when we're introduced to what's happening, and you have William, the Keanu Reeves character, and boot the mapping sequence and energize the body and all these like silly, ridiculous things that he says. But what happens is, like, he's got this, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like all the computer screens are displayed in front of him, not like on screens. It's like in thin air.
Yeah, it's the Minority Report map thing where you're like, we're gonna move all these things around.
Exactly. Like, and that's where it's like, you just really get the sense that they watched a whole lot of sci-fi movies and cobbled this thing together and did all of it so much worse than all of the movies that it's taking from. But they did it because they really love those movies. Like, that's how it feels. And so even that scene where Keanu is like dancing around, moving screens and stuff, it's like, oh, you are not Tom Cruise. This is not working. Like, it's just so bad, and it's so funny.
And the thing is, like, if you look at the Minority Report stuff as an example, right? It is, again, it's that kind of, a lot of stuff in sci-fi stories is stupid.
Yeah.
When you take it out of context.
Right.
Right. So you're just like, he's got all these maps. It's just like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What is wrong with you? But within context, because the film is well plotted and well acted, and and does good world building, it sets up a world in which all of this fits together. The technology makes sense. So the stupid things that when you take them out of context are like, well, yeah, this is silly. When you put them in context, it's like, no, this makes sense to the entire world that they've created. And you're willing to accept that. And that's the problem with Replicas, is that none of it makes sense to the world. That they don't really create a world. None of it really makes sense to it. They don't sell it in any way, right? There are too many questions, and they're questions, like you said, that they're questions that are so big, you can't just kind of pass over them or ignore them or pretend that they're not there. They're just like, no, but it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. It's not organic to the story. It's like, this doesn't fit. And even so that opening sequence, right, that has to establish all of the rules, right? And those are the rules that we are then going to have to follow throughout the rest of the film. That opening sequence fails so abysmally at establishing believable rules that everything else is going to fall apart. And then the problem is, even if I were like, okay, I would be willing, all right, I will accept this. It's stupid, but I'll accept it. Nothing that follows reinforces those rules in a way that's believable, because there are these big plot holes.
Right.
Because there's like, none of this makes sense at a human level. It doesn't make sense on a sci-fi level. Like, nothing about this works. And I did bad. I wanted this man to get his comeuppance. I really did. Like, it was one of those that it's set up to feel like this sort of tragedy almost, where someone in the depths of their grief does something like this. And, we've seen it, like you said, we've seen it in other stories. We've seen stuff like Pet Sematary, right?
Yeah.
You come back wrong. That's what happens when you try to resurrect people out of grief. That's like how it works. It never works the way that you want it to. And yet this film is like, well, what if it did work the way that we wanted it to? It's like, well, that's boring and stupid, because it doesn't make any sense, because you're not dealing with like the reality of what this. And then like, I had a glimmer of hope at one point when the wife figures out, right, like, hey, something's not right here, and begins having memories of the daughter.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this could be really interesting, right? She's having these memories, and of course she's going to figure out there's this child that I gave birth to that doesn't exist anymore, that I don't remember, right? And those memories begin coming back. There's a little bit of an indication that like there's something wrong with the wife herself. She like has having difficulty breathing, and she goes for a run and she doesn't feel right. There's all of this stuff. It's like, okay, maybe this can go in an interesting direction. And then he's like, by the way, the reason why you're so upset is because we did have a child. And I'm like, this should be like a horror movie. Yep. This should be like the wife loses her shit because it's so manipulative and so like evil in its own way, so self-centered, right? That he did this to his family just to recreate them for himself, not thinking about them, for himself. And we get none of that.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it was funny, because when you were like, this movie is just terrible, it's the worst, and I was like, yes, and you just were ranting about all the things that were wrong with it, and I hate you, Karen, for making me watch this. And I was just like, all of your objections are completely correct. That's the thing, like, you're not saying anything that's wrong. Like, yes, this movie is terrible. That's the point.
I know. Absolutely. Well, and then I've talked a lot. Go on. Let's talk about the endings. Let's talk about the last act, Karen.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how we get there. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, so all this stuff is happening with his family, but he's still got the pressure from work, because he still has to get this like prototype droid thing working with a human consciousness inside. And so his boss is like after him, bugging him, and so it's like you've got that extra pressure happening there, and he has to come to work, and Ed claims that he's home with like walking pneumonia, which it's like, okay, if he has walking pneumonia he can come to work, but Ed's so dumb anyway. And so then there are these like, so one day the boss shows up at his house and is like, by the way, I know what you did, and your family are like our extra experiments, because we know, and we have trackers in them somehow.
We have trackers in them, and also like, by the way, I'm not Jones, I'm not who you thought I was.
Yeah,
I am actually part of a secret government. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like, you don't work. No, it's fine. Yeah, like, you don't work for the company that you thought you worked for. And yeah, the way that he's like, my name's not even Jones. It's like, what are we doing? What is this? And so then he's brought goons with him that are there to take possession of the family. And of course, then they somehow run away. And the wife decides she gets the brilliant idea because, again, she's a doctor. And so she gets the brilliant idea that what they need to do is go to her clinic and zap themselves to kill the bug in their bodies that is making it possible to track them. Like they have a little tracking device, and if they just zap it, then they can get away. And so that's happening. Now I've told, even though I watched this like 2 days ago and I've seen it a couple times, now I'm losing track of the order that things happen in. But somewhere in there too, he also went into the bathroom at work and like downloaded his own brain.
Yeah, because he's trying to solve the problem of 345, right? The
Yes.
project that they're supposed to be working on. And now I do not completely understand the whole process, the whole thought process, but it's like he is going to use his own neural map to put it into 345. And I think that it's something about like if the physical body is still alive, then
no, I think what it is
something like go on.
So what he realizes is that the reason that these people, these donors, are freaking out when they wake up inside a robot is because they didn't know that was going to happen. And so his thinking is, well, I know about this experiment, so if I put my own brain into it, then my own consciousness, which apparently you can just download it and whatever. And so if I put my consciousness into 345, knowing that this is the plan, that I'm not going to reject it. And so my brain, I'll see myself and I'll be like, fine, and everything will work out fine. So that's his plan. So yeah. Somewhere in there too, he also finds out that this secret, there's this company that he's working for that's not really the company he's working for. Part of what they've been doing, that he thought, I guess, that they were using these donor bodies that were soldiers because they were dying in battle, and then they could do something good for their families by donating their bodies. But no, what the company or government entity or whatever is actually trying to do is download the soldiers' brains into these droids or robots and then sending them back out into battle and turning them into super soldiers, because that makes more sense than just programming robots to go and fight. Oh man. Anyway, so sorry, I got all off track. So they go, back to the family, they go to the clinic and zap themselves. And I love how when the goons are watching the tracking on this like iPad, they're actually making noises. There's like a little beep, beep, beep as they're following where they're going. And then when the bugs get zapped, they're like, like there's sounds effects. Yeah, that's how that works. And anyway, yeah. So then they end up at the boat that they were supposed to get to in the first place, never made it to. And then there's like a big showdown. They end up back at the lab, and then the robot comes out that is actually Keanu, and he just goes to town on everybody.
He just murders everyone. And but then he makes a deal. They make a deal with Jones, who's not really Jones. That I don't know what. I guess the deal is, I will just use this technology for people. Yeah. If you let my family go, you can use this evil technology for evil and go have fun with it. And everything ends so happily for Keanu's family and nobody else.
Yep. And he also is able to now, because he's got time, he can clone his daughter that was cut out of the family.
How does he clone his daughter? That's the
they
other
still
question.
have the technology, so
Ed is dead.
Yeah, he figured out how to do it, I guess. Ed took really good notes.
What about the pods? They need the pods, which are back at the house.
Well, I mean, at some point they went back and got them. That's probably part of the deal.
And it's all perfect. And the solution to all this is don't submit to grief. Don't work through your sorrow at the loss of your family. Just bring them back in an unholy abomination that is contrary to the laws of God, man, and science.
Also, don't worry about the fact that like you erased your daughter's memories from her sisters, from her sister and brother. And then you're just gonna bring her into the family. Like, sure, you have a sister that you forgot all about.
Everybody is totally cool with all of this happening.
Yeah. And the not Jones guy, played by John Ortiz, he's now like brokering deals in Dubai or something.
It's always Dubai.
Yeah.
If anything evil is going down, it's going down in Dubai. Like evil rich people, that's where all of the evil rich people are.
Yeah. That's like the haven now for the nefarious deeds of the super wealthy. And and so I'm assuming that this also means that William's gonna get a cut of this because it's 345 is the deal maker. And so I'm assuming that William and his family are going to get money and can just do whatever they want for the rest of their lives, and everything is fine. Everybody's happy, except for us, because we just watched this abomination of a movie for 2 hours. But I'm telling you, the more you watch it, the funnier it gets.
I am not watching this again, Karen. I love you so much. I am not ever going to watch this movie again.
You're missing out on the joy that will ensue for multiple viewings.
Oh man. Yeah, it does absolutely fit the bill. Like you said, it is the film that it reminded me the most of actually was the movie Serenity with Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Film, which I have not. I saw that in the movie theater with my then roommate, and like that was again one where we went knowing that it was supposed to be bad and everything. We're just like, okay, how bad is it? and it's bad, like, but it has that similar kind of, like, not in terms of plot, but that similar kind of tone of, we're doing something really smart here.
This is gonna be great. We've got something here.
This all makes absolute sense and works perfectly and is very clever. And it's like, no, babe, it really, really does.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah.
Like, I love you, but no. And like, and here's the thing, I love Keanu Reeves. Like, I actually think that Keanu Reeves in many films is a good actor. And like, I enjoy him. He's an interesting dude and everything. And I was like, Keanu, honey, no. And he like executive produced this too. Like, he's a producer on it. He's involved in this film. It's abysmal. It really is.
It's funny because I also, this viewing, was thinking about that movie Serenity, which came out. I was right, by the way, because I was getting myself confused because I thought Replicas came out in 2018 because it's got 2018 on the date, but it, I guess, came out in a couple of markets that year, but it was actually released January 11th, 2019, and Serenity was released January 25th, 2019. So they were out at the same time. And this time around, I was thinking a lot about Serenity, and which is a film that I have not rewatched. And this viewing of Replicas made me think, gosh, I wonder if I watched Serenity again, if I would find it hilarious, or if it's still just mind-numbingly stupid.
Well, and Serenity, to my memory, also is like, it's set up as like a neo-noir.
Yeah.
Right. And it's supposed to be like, and it's again, there's a lot of films like this that kind of played with the concept of memory, and like, and there are some films that were really successful with it, like what's it called, What Lies Beneath. And so and they all kind of fit into this similar sort of genre, and yet Serenity just is stupid. Like, it fails, it doesn't make sense, right? And has that same kind of vibe of, but no, this is really serious, this is really clever. The other one, actually, and if we ever do I'm sure we will. If we ever do another bad movies we love, The Snowman,
Yes. Yes.
with Michael Fassbender, and by all accounts, the book that it's based on is very good. But is just such an unholy mess of a
It's so bad.
but it's a similar thing where it's like you think like everyone is taking this really seriously, everyone is trying to do a good job.
Mhm.
No one is stepping back going like, this is terrible, let's just make it terrible, right? Let's just be
Right.
funny with it. It's very much like, no, this is serious. Like, no, it isn't. It isn't. And you would have so much more fun if you just stopped trying so hard.
Mhm. Oh my gosh. I love this movie. It's so stupid. It is so stupid.
It really is.
Yeah. Any other sorry, I was about to ask you, but then I just remembered there's a couple of just moments that make me giggle every time. Like when William, so one of the teachers shows up at the school looking for the daughter because it's like, oh, the kids haven't been in school and what's going on? It's like, wait, I thought it was Christmas break, but whatever. And then reminds William, well, your family all like know people who are going to be wondering where they are. And so he turns on the computers and the phones, and as everything starts going off and he sees all of these notifications, Keanu does a whoa. Which just, I love it so much. It makes me so happy. And then yeah, there's another part which I just forgot about too. Yeah, anyway. There's
a bunk bed that appears and disappears in the daughter's room because she's supposed to, because I guess the implication is that she shares a room with her younger sister.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunk bed in it. And then at one point she's like, after the sister's been erased, she goes to bed and she's in the bunk bed. And then in another scene, she goes to bed and she's not. And it's like just a single bed. And again, I was like, can you please get a continuity editor in here at least? Like someone to be like, hey, there shouldn't be a bunk bed here.
Right. Yeah. Well, because he like took it down before he woke the family up. So it's like, how does he put her to bed in the bunk bed? He already took it down.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, it's oh god. Oh god, it just it does, like you said, it does. I think it's probably really the only film that we talked about that truly and completely fits the bill of this is really just bad. This is a terrible movie in every way. It's incoherent. It does not do what it intends to do. It is like it's over serious. Like it is, I think I've said this about films in the past where it's almost like there are places where if they pushed it even a little bit further, it would get so like ridiculous that it would become funnier. Like it would be a better film if it was more terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I expected it to turn into a horror movie where the family like lost their shit and started murdering people or something like that. Like I was waiting for some body horror reanimator stuff. Like, and I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I was like, come on, we could pull this back here.
And they just don't. Yep, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a reason that none of these people ever made another movie. The writer and director specifically. Oh.
All right.
Any other thoughts?
No, except don't watch this movie, people.
Watch it. It's so great.
I mean, it is, yeah, it's bad. It is as bad as advertised. 100%. I think it has something like a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes,
which is also surprising. That's pretty shocking to me that it's not 0.
It costs like 30 million to make. I think it made 9 million back, something like that. It really does just tick all the boxes when you really think about it.
Exactly. See, I knew what I was doing, and also we saved the best for last, and by that I mean the worst.
Yep. Props to you, Karen. You win.
Thank you. Thank you. I will accept that. Yeah. All right. Well, next month, so we're getting into June, which is Pride Month, and we've got a very fun lineup of movies for you. So you're not going to want to miss that. I can't wait to share what we're going to be doing for June this year. But anyway, but that is going to wrap things up for this episode and also for this month of terrible movies we love. And yeah, so we want to thank you all for listening. We especially want to thank our patrons who help keep the show going. They're Abby, Audra, Brian, Connor, Estefania, Ferdinand, Heather, James, Judy, Carriata, Matt, Michelle, MK, Monty, Nanina, Noel, Robert, Roxy, Steve, and Sharon. If you'd like to join them and become a patron too, go to patreon.com/citizendame and sign up. And you get bonus episodes and swag and stuff like that. You can also go to our Ko-Fi if you don't want a commitment, just ko-fi.com/citizendame. We have other ways to follow us and reach out to us. Our email is citizendamepod@gmail.com. Our website is citizendamepod.com. And we are on social media on Instagram and Blue Sky at Citizen Dame Pod and Letterboxd at Citizen Dame. Lauren, where are you?
I'm on Instagram and Letterboxd at LH Business.
And I am on Instagram, Letterboxd, and Blue Sky at Karen M. Peterson. And that's it. Thank you so much. And we will catch you next time. Bye.
This man is dead. Yet his neurological data is still accessible. We are going to take his biological brain, imprint it into that synthetic brain, replicate the human mind. Ed, boot the mapping sequence.